sending. Okay, it looks like we're live on Facebook and live on YouTube. So hello, welcome back. This is Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. That's right. I had to kind of push it forward a day because my husband is going through a trial. He has really bad knees, bone on bone. And so before the knee replacement surgery, they wanted to try a procedure where they inject gel into your knees. And the first set it goes like every week, every Tuesday. And it didn't go so good. This last Tuesday was in a lot of pain. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to move my life to the next day and then just be there to be his legs, see what, get whatever it is that he needs. So welcome back. Today we are doing what happens when you combine gingerbread with a nutcracker, and this will be that design. This is I generally do like a nutcracker and a gingerbread design every year for Christmas. So this is a combined effort. I can't wait to see how this all comes together. I was like planning it out earlier this morning, and what we see in our heads and kind of like what we plot out, we won't know what the end result is until we finish. And so that's what we're working on for today. Let me cover the housekeeping. If you are joining me for the first time, welcome. I'd love to find out where you're from. And if you are watching on YouTube and want to save a copy of this tutorial, just click the save button. If you are on Facebook, you need to make sure that you click the share button to do a quick copy from my page to your page so you'll have this tutorial available. Just make sure you download it within 30 days. Otherwise, that tutorial is gone. You'll have to come back over to YouTube, which I'd love to have you join me on YouTube anyway, and you can download the tutorial there. Notifications to make sure that you are up to date whenever I have to do schedule shifts like this week. Make sure if you're on YouTube that you subscribe to my channel. You can either click the subscription bell or you can click the subscribe button, and that should notify you when I am going live. Facebook is a little different. You want to make sure that you have liked the page and that you're following. Some people just think, well, I see the like, so I'm going to click that. I can't find the follow, so I'm going to just move on. And then they're never notified. It's because you need to complete the second step, which is found under the three dots, the ellipses. Click on that. It'll open up a sub menu. Make sure you've clicked. It's either like turn notifications on or follow this page or something. Facebook changes it all the time. Just make sure you have that button. And that's how you're going to want to do that for all the groups that you're following on Facebook. What else? Turning chat on. Let me make sure we have chat on and chat is enabled. Let me refresh my page because it's not showing any info. Sometimes a quick refresh helps to do that. Okay, that is good to go. Let's double check Facebook, refresh that. We are good to go on both. Okay, activate chat. Hello, Pam. Thank you for joining me. And it'll probably be a little bit different because usually when I go live earlier in the day, there's not an awful lot of people home yet, especially if you're on the central or East Coast, which is where a large chunk of my viewers are. So this being 2 o'clock, it's only 4 o'clock for people who are still working. They'll probably catch this later on this afternoon. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me give you some information that might be helpful to you. Anything. Wow. Okay. Technology is challenging. So my website is listed in the chat box for those of you that need a website information. If you would like to purchase this wreath, it's not listed yet because I don't know what all has to go into it before I can list it. It is at catscreationsandmore.com. If you are interested in joining my VIP exclusive group, you can do that on the website as well. Okay, we're ready to go. I'm going to pivot you guys down for a little ride. And right to the bottom. So we've changed out the cutting mat for today because I'm telling you that the white one's got that's got that big chunk right up in the center, and it's almost going to be time for me to replace it because at some point it will actually go through the board. And so even though it's a self-healing cutting mat, I've been using the same one for about 8 years. So it's almost time to replace. So let me show you what we're going to be doing today. So I had posted a picture earlier on my Facebook page that I said we're going to be working with a gingerbread nutcracker. And so this gingerbread nutcracker came out last year at Hobby Lobby. I got him while there were still nutcrackers available. I have not seen any of Hobby Lobby's nutcrackers this year, so I'm not sure if he's making a reappearance. So it's kind of combining the love of nutcrackers with gingerbread. We are going to actually pair that with a 12.5 by 6 inch made with Love Daily gingerbread bakery sign. We're going to be embellishing it with little gingerbread men, peppermints, the whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and get started and put that together. So the nutcracker was from Hobby Lobby last year. The sign you can pick up at craftoutlet.com. And so I was challenged because I want to incorporate both. So I needed a surface area that was going to be big enough. Okay. So I opted to go with a work frame. And I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to put this together. If I wanted to do cruffles, if I wanted to do ruffles, if I wanted to do it on a smaller, more shallow frame. But this is a 16-inch silver work frame, which means that your tinsel ties are already added. There are 9 to the bottom, 7 to the top, so it's kind of got that uneven. Normally we get 8 on the top, 10 on the bottom, but I think it's going to work out. And as you can see, I've already kind of placed my first piece of Deco mesh, which is a wide foil red metallic Deco mesh. You can pick this up at Craft Outlet. They're going to be 25-inch pieces cut with a wood burning tool. So by me putting one in, I was like, ooh, I like the coverage I'm getting. Whereas when I did the cruffle, I still had really big gaping areas that I did not like. Even though I knew that I was going to be focusing more to the bottom row when it came to tails and embellishments and bows and all the stuff, I still needed to make sure that we had enough volume in the center to be able to fully put our nutcracker and our sign on so that it's full. We don't have holes in the center. So we're going with the ruffle. We are using, like I said, 25-inch pieces, because I want more fullness and more thickness. That's the reason why I went from 20 inches to 25. I wanted a little bit more depth of color here. So I'm just going to gather in about 1/2 inch increments, pulling the Deco mesh towards me. Once I have that put together, I am going to take the finished edge. I'm going to open my tinsel tie. I'm going to lay that in right in the middle, and then just one good twist is enough to kind of keep that intact. Okay, we're going to go around and do the inside first. I'm like trying to think, when we did this last, I think we did the bottom. Like when I've done my Wreath of the Month group, we've always done the bottom first and then the top. So I'm thinking I might make that adjustment right now and take those 2 pieces and move them to the bottom, and we'll do bottom first. I'm trying to think what we've done in the past. So I'm going to start on the bottom. Same method. Going to plop this right in the center. Now what I'm looking for is full coverage, because we have an elevated level here. I want to say it is 2 inches tall. Let me just verify that. It's about 1.5 inches. So that's an awful lot of Deco mesh to fill. So I'm going to take these out and I'm going to plop this one right in here. I'm just going to move them down because I find that when you're doing a work frame wreath, it is easier to do the bottom than the top because of that staggered height. So just like that. Okay. I'm going to take the other ones on the top and just push them to the center so they kind of don't get buried in between. Again, move that forward. Let me take this one out. And I'm just going to drop this to the bottom. I'm going to readjust that on my hands and move it straight down. And you'll see why when we go to put the top pieces in. Okay, so I'm looking for full coverage, so I want to make sure that I'm taking my Deco mesh and really filling the space. Okay, now we're good. So I'm going to stretch this out, gather. So I want this one to have more waves than just picking this up, scrunching it together, and plopping it in. I actually want a lot of waves in my Deco mesh pieces, meaning these little ruffles. Because if I just pick this up like this, as you've seen some people do, they just take their Deco mesh and they kind of go like this and they push it all together and then they put it in. I like to have some pretty consistent ruffles, and so I want to have that consistent ripple effect. So I'm going to take my time. Not to say one way is different over the other, but for this look, I am looking for the little waves. Okay, again, moving top pieces towards the center, just like so. We're right over here. Sometimes these can be kind of a pain on the inside because they kind of get stuck between the wire and the frame. But I've found that it's really super easy just to move the wire to pull your tinsel out. And this would be considered a pencil work frame based on the thickness of the tinsel being used. It's more of a pencil shape than a little bit wider. So again, we're putting 9 pieces to the bottom. One good twist. And again, I'm making sure I have these fully extended. Okay. I cannot wait to see how this is going to go together. Because I feel like I was doing like a little plot map and just kind of on my cutting mat, I was like putting the gingerbread guy there and then putting the sign. I'm like, okay, so how do I want the sign? Is the sign going to be more up and down? Is it going to be more diagonal? How can he be, like, can it be slightly behind him? So no, we're doing a little bit something different. Okay, 2 more pieces. Again, folding our inside ones up into the center. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Hi, Shantae. Long time no see. Hi, Karen. Welcome. If you guys come in, just say hi. Love to know where you guys are joining us from. Yesterday was an ugly heat wave day, so that kind of worked out. It was like 92 degrees by the time I got home, and that just makes the shop extraordinarily challenging to want to work in. So it all worked out for the best. Okay, last piece going down on the bottom. So I'm just going to make sure I can fully take advantage of the entire length I have there. Karen, you're from Ohio. I am here in Washington State, anxiously awaiting the start of our rainy season, which they're predicting is supposed to start next week. I'm not holding my breath for it. I would like to see it. At some point, we actually pulled up our weather app and it had showed like a full week of rain, and that never materialized. It all went away, which is really unusual. Okay, so this is just the bottom layer. Now we're going to take and put in, what is it, 7 pieces to the top. We've done 9 on the bottom. So there's 16 pieces. I have used 2 rolls of Deco mesh because you will need about 2 more pieces into your second row or roll. Cut with a wood burning tool at 25-inch pieces. Okay, now with this one, what I'm going to be doing is folding this down so that I can lay my succeeding piece right on the top. Again, 1 piece here. This time I'm going to take my external pieces and move them outward. So like these are going to come down so that I know that they're here. And I'm just going to take and fold just the tip, just the little tip, so that I can get my piece of Deco mesh in on the top. So we're going to do this. That's a lot of Deco mesh to ruffle. Right, yep. Pull this over. 1 complete ruffle. I think I kind of spaced this one a little odd. I went a little narrow on the inside. I want to kind of pull that up because I don't want it to be short on the middle. I want to make sure that I'm like putting those in the middle. Okay. And then you're going to see that when we start to add these to, once we start putting in our ribbon tails and everything else on the bottom, you're like, how are those going to show? It's like we're going to actually take these and tip these down so that you can see that perfect layer all the way through. That'll thicken up that area in between the 2 rails so that we'll have really good coverage. And that's why I went with 25-inch pieces instead of 20-inch pieces. Okay. Plopping that right on the inside. Again, making sure we are spreading those out. Spreading in my top pieces. Want to make sure they're fully used. And I'm going to keep my little ties up here. See, here's another one. They kind of dip below the level. And this should thicken up a lot. That is a lot of Deco mesh to ruffle. I'm like, wow, that's just a lot. Okay, right over the top. And I'm going to pull this one back so I can see my next piece. And then I'll go ahead and fluff this out so that it's completely full. You're seeing that it's filling the center. Whoa. Sometimes as you get closer to the end of your roll, you find that your Deco mesh, where it's a little tighter on the roll, you really want to lay that flat so you can get full coverage, equal pieces all the way down and through. Again, make sure we've got all of our pieces, kind of keeping these together. 2 more to go. Slowly filling the gap. 2 more pieces ought to cover it pretty darn good. And then I'll give you the dimensions, the finished dimensions of this Deco mesh base. Okay. Let me make sure I'm able to fluff. Lifting that up, making sure it's on the right side. Oop. There we go. Last little piece right in here. I think we're going to have a small little bit hole, but that should be fine based on how I had figured on all of this working. So let's see what ends up happening. Ooh, a little sticky stick. It was like sticking. Okay. Just like so. Okay. That is what we have. We do have holes in the center. So I'm taking a look at this guy, and you're going to see how much space he actually takes up. He goes from basically every piece of deco mesh that we have put in the center. We needed stuff to support him on the underside. And then what we're going to be doing with the sign is actually going to, he's going to kind of be off to the side, just like this. And our gingerbread bakery sign is going to kind of sit at a angled slant. So I think he's going to work out just fine. And I don't think that we're going to need to worry about that hole in the center. So let me go ahead and prep my top pieces of deco mesh first, which just means I want to take those top pieces as they are coming over the top of my bottom ones. I want to take them and tuck them under my bottom pieces so that when we go through and add in our tails and all the embellishments to the outside, that's not getting lost underneath everything else that is going on the top. So just taking those, kind of tucking them underneath, and then bringing my outside pieces back up. So here I have my outside piece. I'm going to pull that down and forward. I'm going to take my upper piece, fold it so that it is right there, and then I'm going to move my bottom piece up. See how now we're exposing the outside pieces. Here you can't see them, they're underneath, so we need to pull those, take this, tuck them down, and that helps give some fullness just behind those pieces that we have going on. So making sure that I take my uppers and those are staying tucked. So my outsides are full. Same thing here. Pull those forward. I have like two pieces because they're in between two. So I'm taking this, folding this down, just like that, so that my outside piece now sits slightly on the top. I haven't thought, like going back and thinking about this, I'm like, would it have been easier for me to add my outside pieces to the top or other way around? And I'm like, no, I think that this works out good. I'm just trying to stretch these two. Okay, this is our outside piece. Again, pull your outside piece down, take your upper. I'm taking it and just lightly folding the ends, and then bringing my upper piece up. Probably should have done the top first, and then that might have been a little easier to take and fold. Here, take, and especially the way the tinsel ties line up. That would have been easier to do. And so right now I'm just fluffing everything on the outside. Got to pull this last piece forward, folding under, allowing this one to come up. Here's my other. Take, fold, trying to pull this piece forward, just like so, and lift tops over the bottom, just like that. Okay, I think I have them all done. Sometimes I just gotta readjust the sides a bit as those come down, move my pipe cleaners around. Okay, better coverage, much better coverage. All right, what we are going to do, taking my outside pieces here, I'm going to pull these down. So if I add anything to the center, which we are, those are not going to get buried under what I placed there. So we've got to wire in, and it is a functional nutcracker. I like to leave them that way. I don't like to hot glue them in. And the one thing I want to focus on is I want to make sure that I do have one tinsel tie right here at the top. So I'm looking at the outside layers. So this guy needs to lay right in here, so that I have two here exactly at the bottom, just like so. Needs to come over just a bit. I think I'm going to actually put my sign in first before I add him, because our sign is going to kind of sit in diagonally. So let me take our twine off. I'm going to go ahead and attach. We are needing red pipe cleaners. Okay. Oh, that was a stretch. So I'm going to, looking at my contact points, I'm going to do one up here and then one down here. So pretty much like right here, using 1/4" staples. We're going to go ahead and secure that, twist it. I'm just going to add glue just as a preventative extra measure. And then right here is where my other one needs to go. Almost right in the center. Right here. This one I saw didn't go all the way through. There we go. Nice solid anchor point. Adding our glue just to make sure. Let's add our business card. Want to make sure the sign is right side up. Just like so. Put this away. Place that down on the inside. Hi, Melinda. Yeah, Christmas already. It's almost the end of September, so if you think about it, we have October, November, December. Got to get the December in. So I am going to position this right about there. So I'm going to move him, and we're going to go ahead and anchor our sign. So I'm going to, remember how we have the upper rail and we have the lower rail. So this is getting anchored to the upper rail. I'm going to take that all the way down. Just one twist, because I'm always like, where'd my point go? I need to make sure I have one that's right here on the end. Okay, that works out perfect. Let's see. Bringing him down. Moving him up. Okay, just like so. That's how it's going to go. So, now, I'm going to go ahead and add this, again, to the upper rail. Oops. Sometimes if my Deco mesh separates, like it's a natural separation point because there's, you know, this is where the twist tie is kind of anchored. I try to go right through the Deco mesh just so we can keep that coverage going. Kind of grab that, give it a couple twists, and then that's kind of how it's going. Kind of making sure. Give me a look. It's going to take me a hot minute just to get him situated the way I want him to go. So he's going to go off to the side. He's not going to be right in the center. I'm kind of tucking that down. Now let's go ahead and anchor our Nutcracker. I tried to make it to where if you wanted to, you could technically take him out. And do that. We're going to figure this one out. Okay. I don't think I need any more floral wire. So I'm using floral wire and looking for good anchor points for these. Set these off to the side so they don't get lost. And I'm thinking probably right underneath his waist would be a good anchor point. I don't think I can camouflage the wire. Like if we did wire right in here, maybe we could. Let's see. I think I could get that to work. So let me take him out. Lay him down. I think the one I grabbed was the short one. Might need to go a little longer. So right under his shoulders. Gonna make sure we have good spacing back here. Just a nice little twist. So that'll take care of that point, and I can technically go right under his ankle, his apron, and go ahead and secure the bottom piece. We'll just make sure that his apron comes down low enough to cover that. So I'm going to go right under the handle, right under here. And I didn't get it as tight as I wanted. See? I needed that up. Let's see if we can keep that up. So I can put a really tight twist here. There we go. Okay. Anchor points secured. I always love it if I can find a way to hide those points. Just like so, we want to make sure his spoon stays down. So I'm going to anchor him at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this down, anchoring him right to the top rail. There's one side. Here's the other. Trying to make sure he stays positioned where I want him to go. Okay, there's that. And we're going to go ahead and anchor his lower half. And I've got my rail pretty much right underneath his backside. So there's that one. Gonna maneuver the other one to the other side of the rail. Come on. Why are we not finding that? There we go. Because I want to keep him even on that rail. I don't want him to move down. I don't want to roll him sideways. So he is good to go. All centered. Right here is how he is sitting on our design. And so now we're going to add in our ribbon tails. And we're doing some bows and half bows. I haven't yet decided what we're doing here yet, so we're going to leave that there just so that I have that as my option. I'm going to make sure his spoon stays down. So the ribbon that we're using is right here, and we're focusing on the bottom outside. We're not going to focus on the inside. So these are the combos that we're going to be doing. So we have 1.5 inches gingerbread and gingerbread cookies on white, cut to 20-inch pieces. Pairing that with a 2.5 inch, what I call the white and natural film strip with the red polka dot center. These are cut to 15. We're going a little longer because I want to elongate the design. I want to bring it out. Then we're pairing it with 2.5 inch gingerbread and gingerbread boy and girl and cookies and peppermints and hearts and all the things. 15 inches, coming in with a Swiss dot with a furry edge, and these are going to be cut to 30 inch. So 15 inches for the 2.5, 30 inches for the red and white Swiss dot, gingerbread cookies cut to 20. So what I'm going to do is, and I've done 3 sets of each. So I'm going to start here with my gingerbread cookie right here at the bottom. So I'm going to fold this in half to find true center. Go straight up the middle. I'm going to take and tuck the tail part in, just like this. And then what we're going to be doing with the 1.5 inches is we're going to take this, the end's already dovetailed. I'm going to flip this over so we have the cookies on the right orientation. I'm going to go up about 2 inches and pinch in so we have the nice little gingerbread guy. And this is going to go in right here. And I'm going to twist, twist, twist. I'm going to open this one up. I am going to right side the wrong side of my ribbon to make what's called a half bow. It's like a little awareness ribbon. And then right underneath here, because this is right underneath, I'm going to do a twist, twist on this a couple. And then I'm going to come right underneath, and I'm going to remove that tinsel tie that's right underneath his legs, so that, let me find my Deco brush. It's right here. I want to bring this one up, tuck the upper piece under, so that now we can see all the things. It's going to be kind of like a little ruffle thing going on. Then over here, we're going to go with our gingerbread print. Fold it in the middle to find true center. Straight up the middle. Open this up. Put that right inside. We're going to flare those out. And then, of course, because I have another tinsel tie right underneath his upper half, I'm going to go ahead and remove this and snip that off. And again, making sure that my lower piece, my lowers come up just like that, so that we can see what we're doing on the outside. I can kind of tuck that underneath his arm till I get my other piece in. Now, with the Swiss dot, we are doing what's called my 7/7 bow. So this is a 30-inch piece. So we are going to measure out 7 inches. We're going to gather, okay, transfer from my right to my left and go all the way back to the start line. Measure out another 7 inches, gather, bring that together, twist, take that all the way back to the start finish, measure another 7 inches, gather, bring that together, twist, and now we have a full-size bow. So I'm going to take that, plop this right on the inside, couple twists, let's open those loops, fan out the tails, just like that. We have a nice little ribbon combination kind of thing going around. So I'm up here at the top. We're going to go through again and do our stripes and dots right up the center. Kind of plop that in. Gonna go right under his hat for now. Same thing. Bring your dovetailed edges together. I'm going to flip this over so our orientation is correct. 2 inches from the top. Going to go ahead and lay that right on the inside. Couple twists. Open your loop. And open your tails. Just make sure you can see a little bit of everything on both. So we have like full bows and then half bows. Call them half bows because they only have 1 loop but 2 tails. Okay, back to our gingerbread. Again, straight up the center. Right on the inside. Gonna fan that out. I think I'm gonna go ahead and remove this one so we can get this one tucked right underneath that sign. This one I'm gonna just push forward, and then let's go ahead and make that 777 bow again. 7 inches. Measure in, transfer to the left hand, go all the way over, measure in, go up, twist, measure another 7 inches, gather, transfer to your left hand, and then twist that bow around. And then I like to always try, should have prepped it beforehand, making sure that I have a little, like that my tinsel ties are ready. They're like up and down, so I can just squeeze those in. Same thing, make sure you can see everything right there. Okay, moving around. We've got one of these. Tucking this in. Twist this out. Grab your 1.5 inches, 2 inches from the top, gather in, plop that right on the inside, little twist, 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 open that up, right side one of your ribbon legs, and then just kind of drag your hands underneath so that you can see both. Just like that. And then I think I might have to do another set of ribbon combos. I'm like looking at this going, this is where a bow's gonna go. I might have to do one more set here. So I'm gonna make the bow, we'll put the bow on and see how much of that is gonna be covered by the bow before I cut any additional ribbon. So, whoop, fan those guys out. We're doing the 7-7. So 7, gathered, transfer, gather another 7, gather, transfer, twist. Back to your start finish line, gather, transfer, twist, and place that right inside. That kind of worked out. I do think I need one more set, because then it would seem even on that side to do that. Again, make sure you can see everything. I think I'm going to do one more set right here. This will be our bow location. So let me cut another set of 15 and then 20-inch piece. So I'm going to move them over. I'm going to grab this. We're measuring off 15 inches. I'm going to need this for my bow. And then we need our gingerbread cookie ribbon. And we are measuring this off to 20 inches. A little bit longer by an inch than what I normally do. I'm going to dovetail the ends, which is simply taking my wired edges, fold those in half. I'm going to cut from my fold to the wired point. Just like that, I can hit both at the same time. Much slower is just wired edges together, cut from the fold to the wired point. Need to do it on this side as well. And then we are all set for the last set of ribbons that will go on our design. So, same thing, fold it in half to find true center, straight up the center, right inside here. Fan these out because this one is tucked way under the sign. I'm going to give it a couple extra twists. Trying to get that way up underneath there. And tuck that back down. So that now we can bring that top in a nice cute little ruffle. Bring our dovetailed edges together. Go up 2 inches. Gather in. Place this right inside. I'm just going to do this so I can get my ribbon tails in the right orientation, so that I don't have that piece of Deco mesh like in my way, so that I can see all the things. Okay, so let me flip this around. Ignore these tinsel ties for now. I usually always leave them in place until I know what direction I'm going. So this is what it looks like for you so far. And I know there's still a lot of stuff going on in here, but it's going to look so much better. So let me pull this off. We're going to go ahead and make the bow first. And our bow making materials, using the Bow Dabra, we are going to start. Let me make sure I have enough on here. I think I do. I think so. Let me just see. Let's see if we do. Otherwise, I'll go get another roll. So I'm going to dovetail my end first. 10. I'm trying to think. I need about 40 inches. We might be right at the bare minimum. So I'm going to measure 10 inches. This will just tell me if I have enough. We're going to flip up and over, going with 5.5 inch tails. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Do we have enough? We might have just barely enough. Let me double check. Let's see. Are we all the way out? Oh yeah, we do. We had just enough to finish. Look, this has to end right here. 10 inches in, right there, literally by 1.5 inches. Finish that ribbon all the way out. Okay, this ribbon, by the way, craft outlet. Let me make sure I keep that. Then we're doing the gingerbread boy and girl. Let me pull all these out because I'm trying to remember how I had them. So it was that. Then I think we're going to do peppermint stripe. Then we're going to be doing gingerbread cookies. Then that. Then this. All of your ribbons today were brought to you by, feels like Sesame Street. With the exception of this one. These were all craft outlet. This one is 5th Street Studios, the peppermint stripe. Okay. It's looking good. Thanks, Letitia. Wait till you see all the other stuff. Like, oh, when you see all the embellishments I have sitting here, it'll be a nice design. So we're going to go with 9.5 inch tails right up here. We're going to twist, place that right inside. Then we're going to measure out 5 inch loops, meaning that when I take and lift this over the top, I'm going to place this on the 10 inch line so that when I'm looking at it from the crack right here at 10 inches, when I stretch this out, it needs to end, oops, I keep moving it, end right at 5 inches, which it has. It's always nice when I don't have to take the whole roll with me. Again, right at 5 inches. And then out to 9.5. And I think we're just getting right on the money with all of our ribbon, because there's that one. That's the end of that roll. It'll be time to get more gingerbread ribbon. I like saving the SKUs so that I can order them. When they run out, they go on a little clipboard so that I can place those on the inside. We're doing our peppermint stick because they are holding candy canes. Well, let's see. This is pre-cut, so it's always good to just, I always take the last little bit of ribbon if I have extra so that I don't have to keep like just that much on a roll. I'll just wrap it around the existing one. So this is going to be 9 inches. Gathering in, twisting, place right on the inside. We're going to go up and around. And we want 4.5 inches. So stretching these out, I'm right at 4.25. There's 4.5. Another 4.5. Let's make sure we are on target. We're good there. Stretching it out here to 9 inches. Good on that one. So it's kind of nice to add a little bit of the candy cane print to this. There we go. Trying to make sure I'm fixing like any puckers or little pinches in my ribbon. And now we're going to go with, I always, if I know I'm going to do a ton of gingerbread, I always buy the 50-yard rolls. It's so much easier than having 5 of those little ones. And if I know I'm going to always do one every year, this is the one for my gingerbread. This will be 8.5 inches. And we're going to go with 4.5 inch loops again. That was kind of cute. Floated on that pin head. And because I've already measured the bottom, all I have to do is put my fingers in the top and just kind of do a stretch and pull. And just make sure everything lines up. Final measurement, making sure we are out at 8.5. There's that. Okay. That one is all set, ready to go. And now we're going to do our Swiss dot. Just like so. We're doing 8-inch tails with 4-inch loops. Same thing. Slide it in your bow dabber. Line up your ribbon. Twist as you place it down inside your bow dabber. Bring it back. Line up your crack here with what you see on the table. And then as you stretch it out, you should be able to see, hey, does that end at 4 inches? If not, you can pull either from the spool or pull on the loop. And we are right there. Out at 8 inches. Dovetail our end again. And then we're going to finish up with our gingerbread print ribbon. Used to be a 50-yard spool. Now it's gotten much smaller. Okay. Final one is going to be 7.5 inches for my tail length. And it's going to be 3.5 inches for my loop length. So here's 7.5 right inside. We're going to make 3.5 inches. Bring that up. Make sure I line it up a little bit. 3.5. And pull this one down so it can lay flush. Pull it back and back out. 7.5. Okay, so that is all good to go. Just like so. And we're going to go ahead and attach this. Okay, let us get a red pipe cleaner. And we've got one here. I'm going to just bend that into a U shape. It's so much easier to have that ready to go. I'm going to pick up the bottom and the top, squeezing. Drop that right down in the center. Gather at the bottom and then twist the whole stack. Okay. I'm going to get my fluff board because I always need something that is weighted and large because it's easier to fluff here than on our wreath. I'm going to secure my pipe cleaner right here on that seat hook, and I always prefer to do it this way. So because this is a downward facing bow, we're going to pull all of our ribbon tails down like so. Just like so. Pull them all down so that all you're left with at the top is nothing but all of your tails. Okay, then I like to take the top two, little crisscross, and I crisscross them opposite here because it causes your eye to be drawn to things that don't look like matchy-matchy. They're off. So that's why. And we are going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull our candy cane up. I'm going to place the cookies right in between. But I'm going to do opposite here so our cookies come up and the candy stays down below. Like that. here we're going to bring these up, leave this down below. Here, our cookies are going to go up, but the pattern is going to stay at the bottom. So now at this point, it's just a matter of fluffing all the loops so that they give you the look you desire. Once you get all your loops in the right place, then you're going to take your tails and you're just going to fluff those by running your fingers through. This way, when they're placed on the wreath, they will actually cascade down in a nice little arc and frame your bow. Just like so. Love making bows. And then we want to make sure that all of the pieces are evenly displayed so that you can see all the different ribbons. And there is your bow for the wreath. Hi Georgiana, hi Verlene, welcome. I'm gonna pop that off, move our board. We're gonna bring our wreath back on up. And we are going to remove this tinsel tie because that's right where our bow is going to go. I'll go ahead and remove that. This is what I've been doing, is just pushing the tinsel tie back on down. I'm going to take my bow. It's going to kind of go right over where that tinsel tie is. So I've got to work through all the layers that are kind of gathered right at that point. Okay, pull this one down. Gonna line this up. Oops. Okay, now we're gonna fluff everything out. I'm going to tuck this one down so that his spoon can actually lay straight. Going to position my loops right over where I want them to be. And then again, just refluff what you want to fluff. Just like so. And there is our bow on our design. There we go. Had to give it a little oomph, a little push back down in the right direction. So that's kind of how it's supposed to look right now. And we're going to go ahead and take care of all this stuff up here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to untwist this, or twist it, remove it right here. And we're going to take, concept's great, will the execution be the same? So Hobby Lobby has, let me show you what the picks look like. They have them like this. So they're just like little woven cotton candy canes. And so what I want to do on my design is I broke two of them apart. You can separate them all just by pulling down. And so I wanted these in a heart shape. So they're wired up to a certain point, but I want them to look like a heart. So I'm going to kind of glue the ends down and then glue the bottoms together. We'll twist the wires there. So they're going to get twisted right here. I'm just going to go ahead and twist these so they'll stay together. And then as I glue these together, I'm going to hold them. And I'm hoping that they'll stay in a heart-shaped position. I'm hoping. We never know until we actually try. Okay. So one to the other. I have a fly that is just like, he wants to go out the door because I came in and I shut my door. So I'm just going to hold that so that it stays in our little heart shape. So I've kind of been holding my fingers in the hole when I was pushing these together, because they're not so much heart shaped. They're more like, man, I think they're looking for the gingerbread cookies. They're more bent at an angle, so I want mine to kind of be a little bit more heart shaped. So I'm going to hold that because I want them to stay in the heart together. Let's use a silicone pad below that so they don't stick to the silicone pad. And so I'm trying to bend something that isn't quite into a bendable shape into a shape I want. You guys have seen me try to do crazy stuff like that in the past. Let me open my door so they'll go out and not stay in. Now they'll all leave. Should have opened my door so they would all take off. But yeah, it looks super cute. So we're going to put that right at the top of our sign. So just like that. I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to kind of readdress that. So I'm going to show you what it looks like from your point of view. This is going to kind of go right up in here so that we have a little heart-shaped heart for this. So I'm going to continue to twist these on down so that we can maintain our little heart. So because I've twisted two wires together, therefore making it really challenging, I'm just making my own little pick. So that's going to kind of float right here at the top. Like all things love, I'm going to take a little bit more. So I'm going to glue that down right in here. And let's see. I'm trying to figure out, how do I want it to go? Do I want it to go under this? Let me look. Let me flip that around to see if I want it to go under the Deco mesh or have the Deco mesh go under that. I think I want it under this on top of. So let me get rid of all of our glue threads. And I am going to, I'm looking at like what is the best way. I think this is the best way. So I'm going to glue along my heart all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to lay this right in here, right inside my heart. And we're going to make a small little bow that's going to sit right at the bottom, right in here. So I'm kind of looking at what Hobby Lobby had on their thing. I'm like, can I take that and repurpose it? I might want to just use my own. Because theirs is a gross grain. I like using wired ribbon if I can. And Hobby Lobby lately has been coming out with wired ribbon. So we're going to make a mini bow. So dovetailing my end. I'm just going to gather in, go around, gather, gather, twist, make another loop, gather with a twist, and bring that right out. I'm going to fluff my loops to make sure we've got equal parts. And let's use a bit of wire to keep that in place. So just right in and through. Okay. So I'm just using my wire right here to kind of create a nice little cute bow. And we're going to fluff the ends like so. I'm going to bring this one down. We're going to dovetail the end. And I think we're good to go on that, so that we have a super cute little bow. We're going to remove that. I had it the right way and then I went to move it. So this is actually going to sit right at the bottom, and then I'll fix the loops. I think we need to, or the tails. I think the tails have to be just a touch shorter. Otherwise they start to bleed into our sign. So I'm going to make them a little bit shorter. Like so that we can have a cute little bow right there. Little dab of glue on the back. And I'm going to glue that right to that stem so that we can have a nice little touch right there. Let me think of something. I'm trying to think. I'm in my creative headspace again. I love dabbling in the world of miniatures, especially if you can take it to the total next level. Like a nice little gingerbread guy. Like, look at how small he is. We're going to put him as a centerpiece inside that, but like right in between here. Because I just like to complicate my life and make it challenging, right? So I'm going to put a dot of glue there. Take our little gingerbread guy and add him right to the center, because it's always going to be about the details, right? Plus I love complicating my life. Okay, so there's that. There's that. So we've added a little flourish right there. I'm actually going to remove this right here. See, it's always good you keep them on until you figure out, hey, are you going to use that or not? Tuck that down. We will find something to add there momentarily. But let's see. There we go. Let's go ahead and continue our embellishing. So, what else, Kat, do you have? Well, you can't have gingerbread wreath without gingerbread cookies. So these are little foam little gingerbread cookies, and we're going to be popping these in around our design, and they are actually going to go right at the cookie level. So right where the cookies are, they're going to pop in there. They're going to kind of tuck in there. We're going to tuck one down here. And we're going to tuck another one right down in here, because it needs to be all about gingerbread. And I have one left, and so he might just kind of tuck up underneath our sign, just like so. Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and attach these guys down to the bottom. So let's see, I'm trying to think, how do I want to attach them? I could just wire them into the stick, but let's see if I take these down a little bit. I want them to kind of pop out from the bow, so I want them a little bit behind. So I think I'm going to remove the stem all the way, and then we're going to attach him from the bottom leg to the bottom part of this bow. So he's going to kind of tuck in right there, just like this. And this guy is going to do the same. He's just going to tuck in right here. Kind of like this one better. And tuck that guy up there. So let's go ahead and add these. So I'm going to put the contact points. So he goes kind of right behind the bow. And I want to make sure that he's actually sitting the way that I want him to sit. Just like so. And then this guy over here. And sometimes it's just so much easier when you have them, like, to put them in place. Just to go ahead and do it. Just like that. So I've got those two. These ones at the top. Let's see. Do we want them to pop out? Kind of want them to pop out the top. Just like this. Maybe they'll be, I'm trying to think. He needs to go here, and he goes on the opposite side, like that. So they're like gingerbread cookies everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to take this down a little bit further. It's actually going to go below. I'm trying to make sure that he is positioned the way I want him to be when you're looking at the wreath straight on. So just like that. I got a frame. Drives me crazy. Okay. So I'm going to go down his little stick, across the bottom here. And he is going I don't want to stick my fingers in that. I want him to attach to the Deco mesh without getting my fingers in the way. Can we do this? There he goes. So that he's slightly elevated while he dries. Go away, fly. Same thing with this one. Taking him down a little bit, right down his stem. Right along the bottom. And just making sure they are all in place. Just like that. Super cute. Okay, there's that. What else do I want to add? We want to add in, I think, a couple more of the candy cane bits. So, do I want them crisscrossed though? Do I want them like these? I can bring a couple of them down. Kind of feel like I don't want to like get in the way of this one. I want that to just kind of be its own little thing. I know I have some peppermint candies, but before I do that, let me really quick add in a little gingerbread cookie. And I've had these forever. I got these at Big Lots a while ago. And of course, everything has to be taped to prevent them from all falling out. Let's just do this. And so I'm looking for a really cute cookie design. Let's go ahead and pull the ring out. And I want to add this right inside the little bow. I'm going to add, there's one that looks like a cookie. There's one that's like a little gingerbread man. Pulling them all out. There's a little gingerbread house. It's funny, there's one that's like a little star. And I think, because there's a star there, I am going to make the star fit on our star. We're going to just go ahead and glue that right there. So it's kind of like a 3D effect. There's a candy cane. And guess what? There happens to be a candy cane in here. So let's go ahead and embellish our sign a bit. So I'm going to go right here on my sign. And we're going to just add our candy cane to that. Same thing with our star. Make sure that fits. The little gingerbread guy is a little too small. So let's go ahead. I'm trying to see, what do I want? The house is kind of cute. The gingerbread guy is a little cute too. I think we'll do the gingerbread guy. And we'll go ahead and add him as a center embellishment. Because why not? We'll add that right to the center of our bow. Just like that. We've added that. He's got his nice little gingerbread piece. Peppermints. Let me grab those really quick. No, I'm not ready. Still light. Okay. We have some peppermints. These are also from Hobby Lobby, by the way. So I'm going to strip these down and just make sure that our peppermints are twisted really well. And we're going to kind of tuck some peppermint candies around our sign. Like that. I always like to give them extra twists, because actually the pattern's on the wrapper, it's not on the actual candy. Let's add this one right down here. We still need to glue in our gingerbread guy. Let's go ahead and glue him. So I'm going to tuck him right inside so that we have a nice little gingerbread cookie. Let's give him a peppermint. Let's see. It shows. This is weird. It showed that like my stream went off and then I clicked on it. It's like, nope, your stream's still here. Same thing. I just go around the wrapper. I'm going to tuck that in on both sides of my little gingerbread guy. So that is our little gingerbread design. The little ends that we have, let me move these over so I can show you what I'm talking about. Cookies, cookies, cookies. More cookies. The ends. So these little ends right here, you can take these and you can curl them around your needle nose pliers and just give them a little swirl. So they're kind of bent down so they don't look so straight out and out. So you can take them, curl them. It's easier if we just take them and go around my needle nose. There's that. I can hear the wire from our Nutcracker because we haven't removed the wire from him. So there's that. Hate that sound. He must be there today, Steve. Yeah. I need the open, please. They always come in. It's because it's cooler in here than it was outside. I'm just finishing those off. I think we're good. Let's get it up on the door so you guys can see it in its full thing. Pivoting you up. Just like so. There we go. Let's put it up on the door. This is what it looks like. So, heart. Nutcracker has to stay straight. That's how we designed this particular wreath. So, let's get all the fluffy stuff fluffed. Because this was a big one to have on the table. Watching us put this all together. So let's make sure we have all the fluffy stuff in the right way. I'm going to bring this down just a bit. There is all of our ribbons. Trying to keep him straight. He's supposed to be the most vertical thing on this design. And there you guys go. I'm going to zoom in on that so you have that. And that is our gingerbread design. What do you guys think? Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. She said, over the top, beautiful. Georgiana said, this is so beautiful. It's just something fun where you can incorporate a Nutcracker in with your design. But I hope you guys like this design. I will see you here tomorrow at the same time, which is 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll have another design for you.